Hey, it's Kevin Hart with my pal Catherine O'Hara.
No, I'm more of a bestie.
Kinda, sorta. Right now, we're cash backing on everything we need for the holidays with Chase Freedom Unlimited.
I got some ornaments and lights.
'Tis the season to cash back.
And lots of wrapping paper.
Maybe you're cash backing on a present bought for me?
About that.
I know you're kidding.
Am I?
How do you cash back? Learn more at chasefreedom.com. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Welcome into this edition of Road Trippin with RJ and Channing. I'm your host, Allie Clifton, and I'm just joined by Richard, which I guess I didn't mean
wow, what the Sheesh. That's how we're starting? That's how we're starting the day.
Normally it's, and this is a tease to our guest that's going to be joining us later in the episode, normally it's you that has all the obstacles, but this week it's Channing. Like how I did.
He said he has a tree. He said he has a tree fell on his internet, like just his internet. Like it was like fell on his fucking router. Like, come on, like the internet's down, but everything else is working. Just like, okay, no, I'm joking. I know it's probably he lives in Oregon. Like wind blows,
lots of trees.
Lots of trees.
All right, Rich. There's been a lot of things, a lot of fun things that have gone on the NBA. So let's do some NBA talk before we are joined by our guest.
Okay.
Where should we start? Where do you want to start? Do you want to start East or West? You tell me that, and then I'll tee you up. I'll throw you some love.
Let's go East. I've been having to talk a lot about
East,
West lately because Lakers have been playing well. Then Lakers have been playing well. Golden State's been going through their drama. I'm just saying, it's like I've had to talk about them a lot. Let's give the East some love.
All right, we're going to go to the East, and we're going to start with the team that people feel like we don't give any love on this podcast, with the Miami Heat and Tyler Herro and his success. Obviously, we just had Max Strus on. Tyler Herro joined Steph Curry and James Harden as the only players to hit 9+ threes in consecutive games, and the first in NBA history to do it consecutive nights, back-to-back nights. It's as if he didn't leave the arena. He's now averaging over 21 a game. He's the perennial sixth man of the year nominee. You know who is at the top of that list right now, or as of a few days ago, it was Russell Westbrook, averaging 15, 5, and 5, which no player has ever done coming off the bench. But sticking with Tyler Herro, he obviously won the award last season. But my question to you, he has started more games this year, but why has Coach Spo only started Herro in 25% of his games over his career, given all that you have seen from Tyler and et cetera?
I think it's just, partly it's just the way you want to structure your team. I think he obviously is a capable starter. He's a starter for the majority of the teams in this league. But I think for them, I could see why you could fall in love with him in that role. I can see why, right? Especially there's either 3-and-D guys or 2 guards, and it's like they've got Jimmy, they got Kyle. If you start him, that's really small at the 3, right? So that's a really small. So you force him off the bench. It's a perfect role. And I feel like he was there with Jimmy's first year was his rookie year. So it was like they didn't know how good he's going to be as a rookie. So he slid into that role, kind of like Jordan Poole. We know Jordan Poole can start. We know how good Jordan Poole is, but like where he's probably best for the Golden State Warriors level of success is to only start a portion. And that can be in big games, that can be here and there. But over the course of the season, it's probably best for him to dominate with the second team, run the point guard, have the offense run through him, right? Like all of those things like he gets with that second team. And he's going against second unit players where he's typically better than all of them. So like that adds to his success.
How tough is that? Obviously, I know that you're not a coach in the NBA, but you've been in countless locker rooms. You've been around the conversations.
I might as well be a coach.
How hard is that for a coach to stick to your guns in moments like that? Because as we know, too, there's been times where you've got injuries, you've got rotations that are all over the place. But to keep a player in a position, like that, like Russ has remained off the bench. No matter what happens with the Lakers, players in and out of the lineup, Russ has stayed on the bench since the moment he went to the bench game 6 of the season. But to your point, he's been a starter in this league.
He's been an MVP. So it's weird because it's like, no, but I'm saying like, I say it to say this. Like Russ transitioning to that. And part of the reason why they will keep Russ there, in my opinion, and I'm not saying this is 100%, but it's like, I don't want to go the back and forth. Russ is going to be our leader off the bench. Every starters, we will rotate. And a lot of times you'll see it. Jimmy might be out. That doesn't just bump Tyler to the starting lineup, right? Jimmy can be out, and they're like, no, Tyler, you're going to still man the second unit. The timing's going to be the same. You're probably going to play more minutes. And even then, he still plays 38 minutes on a given fucking night. Like, his minute ain't changing. And I just go back to, like, Manu Ginobili. And, like, Pop just eventually liked him there in that role better. He liked him better there off the bench. He's still the exact same player. Off the bench, not off the bench, Manu's the same player. Pop just liked him at that time in the game. Why it would allow for rotations to potentially play him less minutes just for a variety of the reasons. And like Pop would like walk by Manu and crack a joke and be like, you're never fucking starting again. And Manu would kind of laugh. It's like, whatever you want. Do you want me to start you? Don't want me to, whatever. I don't care. Like that was their relationship and it was beautiful. But to watch a Hall of Fame player not give a shit about starting that's the most beautiful thing to me in that space. And Pop to laugh about it. And he might start him, he might not, but he was just more of like, that's never going to be your role again. And it was like, and he played 5 more years after that moment. This wasn't like at the end of his career. He played like, this was in 2010. Pop was saying this to him. So, the ability to accept a role and enjoy it and flourish and get success, like that's what's beautiful about the relationship that you see. It doesn't mean that Tyler doesn't want to start, doesn't want to have his own team, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the acceptance in a role that could easily be like, I want something different. Same with Jordan Poole when he's playing fucking well. It's like he fits in. He's found a way, like, how hard that is to fit in to 3 Hall of Famers and succeed. Like this motherfucker's playing with Steph, Clay, Draymond with a Hall of Fame coach, and he's like figured out a way to average 19 points a game with that squad and fit in and succeed. That's what's beautiful. Not his talent. His talent, fuck, we've seen a million Jordan Pooles. That's no disrespect to Jordan Poole. But where I think makes him special is not his talent. What I think makes him special is that he has mentally and emotionally found a way to fit in with some of the greatest basketball players we have ever seen. And he did that in his first couple of years and won a championship. That makes you a bad motherfucker. Not your jumper, not fucking your handle. That don't make you a bad motherfucker to me. Like, you a bad motherfucker. You can fit in with those dudes. They accept you enough to go average 20 points a game and we win a championship with you. Oh, yeah. You that dude.
Level of bad motherfuckery. I love that word, by the way, and I hardly use it because I don't think it's appropriate for me to say it, but I love it. Is Tyler Herro and hitting 9+ threes in back-to-back games.
Yes, he is bad motherfucker. Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive, right? Have you ever done it?
No, fuck no. I don't think I've ever shot 9 threes in a consecutive game. Shot 9 threes ever.
Touche, let alone make.
Ever. And that, look, I wish, like, dude, in my prime, right? Again, it's okay. My prime, 2005, 6, 7, or 8, around that time. It's like it was just 11, before the 12. I'm saying it was just before the 3-point era really kind of blew up. I would have loved to fucking shoot 9 threes a game. I would have fucking dreamed of it. That shit wasn't happening. You shot back-to-back threes. I remember I shot a pull-up jumper one time. This is no lie. Never forget this. And it goes to the relationship I have with my brother. So big game, whatever, back and forth. And this is when I was still becoming a scorer, right? I was like, went from like 10 points a game to 15 to 18. So I was like right there where I was kind of like almost averaging around 20, but I was still learning. So I came up, it wasn't even a heat check. It was just like I dribbled up and fucking shot a pull up from like 12 feet kind of in transition. Something happens, timeout, and I'm standing there kind of like, yeah, whatever. And Kenyon Martin's sitting down there and he just goes, Richard. I was like, what's up? He's like, we can get a better shot than that. And I was like, you know what? You're right. We can. We definitely can get a better shot than that. And that was it. But like, that was the beautifulness about like our brotherhood is that he could say directly what his thoughts were to me. And we were so in link. I'm like, yeah, that's probably a shitty shot. And I just wouldn't do it again. Right. Because it was like, we both respected each other and understood that like he could just be like, Richard, that wasn't a good shot. I'm like, yeah, that wasn't a good one.
Was that before or after the fight?
This was after. That's what I'm saying. Like this was after because our level of respect didn't like, he wasn't disrespectful or this, but he could talk to me in such a direct manner of like, you're fucking up. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Or like we'd had situations too where I was like, Kenyon, you know you was wrong for that. He was like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Kenyon, you know you was wrong for that. He's like, you right, but still, fuck him.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I actually think it's more so kudos to the person that's receiving the information to be able to handle it like a professional. No disrespect. Obviously, you have to be able to say it the right way. But yeah, that's a good story. All right. From the Heat to the Celtics. Twitter told me that you had some outlandish shit this week.
Fuck that. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to defend this shit.
My reaction to you thinking that the Celtics 4-2 road trip was not a good road trip for them. My reaction is
terrible.
that you're just fucking bored.
No.
When you get bored, you like to say off the wall shit.
That too, but hold on. Wait a second. We're going to start with this.
I'm not even going to talk about the road trip, though. I just want to know
Wait a second. Let me tell you why I said this, right? Let me start with this. I hold the Boston Celtics in the highest of regards. I truly believe when I look at them and I look at the start of their season, Jason Tatum is having an MVP level season to the first quarter of the season. He's the MVP, right? That says something. So what does that trigger to me? That triggers expectations. That triggers expectations of when Dirk won his MVP and they won 67 games. When Giannis wins fucking his MVP and he's won 60-something games. When I see Steph win 70 fucking 3 games and win an MVP. Is Jason Tatum, are the Boston Celtics going to have that type of season? I believe they can. 100% I believe they can. And the start of their season looks like that. Best offense, best defense. They got Jaylen Brown as fucking looking like an all-NBA player. They got the reigning defensive player of the year. All of this shit. And you're like, fucking great. Here we go. Right? So they have an opportunity to come out west and set the tone. Send the fucking message like all the great championship teams prior have done. They came out there and they're like, fuck. They could have left no doubt. Right? They beat the Brooklyn Nets, and the Brooklyn Nets are playing well. That's a good win. Toronto, whatever. Toronto's solid team. I like it. They beat Phoenix now, and they're like, oh, look, they're 3-0 on the road trip. Phoenix is a dog shit team right now. We know this because they lost 5 in a row, so this might have been the time. So I'm going to not say disrespect the Phoenix Suns, but like when you look back at it right now, that it was like around the start of the 5-game losing streak, Phoenix got some issues going on, right? So, okay, whatever.
Okay.
So now you are the best team in the league. You are showing up to go against the defending champions, the team that you're ready to get some get back to, right? Send a message, right? You lose. Get your butt whipped. They don't got Wiggins. Don't tell me you don't got fucking Al Horford. Don't tell me you don't got Robert Williams. They don't have Andrew Wiggins, the guy that was probably their second best player in the finals. So don't tell me about who you have and don't have. Then what do? They follow it up. They lose to the Clippers, a team that their starters might play, they might not play, they might practice. Who knows what's going on? They don't know what's going on in Clipperland. They lose to that team, right? So now I'm like, okay, all right, okay. I figured they would have answered the call after fucking getting embarrassed to the defending champions, and when that was supposed to be your time to send a message like, if you motherfuckers come back this way, we're gonna whoop your ass in Boston, and if we see you in the finals, we're gonna whoop your ass again. The message starts. That's the mentality of great championship teams. So they don't do that. Then the Lakers, the dog shit Lakers, right?
Stop it.
I'm just saying.
Not as of late. No.
As of late, the Lakers have been a lot better. Anthony Davis has been a fucking monster. I'm just referencing that only the Lakers would give them that opportunity to get back into the game, and they had those free throws. And I called the game in Philly, and you had those free throws. You guys did so much to battle back, and I'm sitting here like, is this going to be the moment that really turns the corner? Ugh. So they should have lost to the Lakers. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? I looked at this from a standpoint of they could have sent a message. I'm not looking at 4-2. they're good enough to go 4-2, but they also, if they're locked in and playing like elite level championship right now, it still looks like there's anybody's league. If they would have came out here, beat it does. I'm saying, if you tell me this right now, if you say this right now, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, if you were to say possibly the Cleveland Cavaliers, if you were to possibly say the Golden State Warriors, if you were to say the Memphis Grizzlies, who just whooped Milwaukee by 50, if you were to say any one of those teams like could win the championship, you could be like, okay. So I just feel like there's still a group. No one has separated themselves. Even though Boston's the best team of the group, they haven't separated themselves.
Fair in that breakdown. What did you need to see from them that would have told you that they
a better
had a successful road trip?
A better performance against Golden State, right? A better performance against Golden State. And the Lakers, like even a better performance against the Lakers. Like you're up by 20. You're up by 20, right? 18. And you let them take a 12-point lead, right? Now, and if it wasn't for their mistakes, yeah, I'll give you the credit for battling back. You got to hit the shots. I'm not saying Jason Tatum's not a monster. I'm not saying Jaylen Brown. I'm just saying before I started thinking that this team is an elite team, I was disappointed in that. I thought it was a terrible road trip. If they would have came through here and gone 5-1 and only lost because they, if they beat Golden State, lost to the Clippers, beat the Lakers, I'd be like, yo, they beat Golden State. Like that's the bet. That's the team. I want like the MVP candidacy improved. I don't think that this road trip helped Jason Tatum's candidacy. I don't think it helped. Same thing that would happen with Giannis and the 50-point loss. I don't think if you're making arguments, those are black marks.
So the 2015-16 Warriors, if I am not mistaken, 2015-16 Warriors were the best team assembled, correct? That was the 73-9 team.
Yes. Well,
2 7-game road trips.
They're the best regular season team. Yeah.
6-1 on both road trips. So you're saying that if Boston went 5-1 on this road trip, it would have completely changed from a 4-2. I think the reason why I'm saying this
plus a win against Golden State.
Yeah.
If they would have only lost one plus, because I think they're that good, they're that talented, and they proved that they are that talented. But those, to me, that's like a mini playoff series in your brain. Like, that's all.
I just wonder if you really believe that it was a terrible road trip. As someone who played 18 years in this league,
I'm not saying terrible. When I say terrible, people like again. I'll allow for more context. When I look at it, is because they didn't hit that elite mark that I know that they can hit, and they looked mediocre. They looked beatable. The Boston Celtics, if anybody was watching them and they came out west, you know how many West teams look at them and just like the Golden State Warriors.
Undermanned?
Undermanned.
Did you take that into account?
But undermanned. So was Andrew Wiggins. The Clippers, they barely play anybody, right? So like when we can talk about everybody's got some excuses floating around. But right now, if you were to ask the Clippers, what do you think about the Boston Celtics? They'd be like, you ask Golden State Warriors, what do you think about the Boston Celtics? What would you say? They'd be like, we can, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're good, but we can beat them, right?
Respectfully, I think the Warriors can say that because of a season ago. However,
but my point is that, but that point, even for the Warriors, the reason why it was a big win for the Warriors, because it let fucking the rest of the league know that's why it was a huge win. We're still those guys. That's what I'm saying. So we can say the huge win for the Warriors and like, yeah, bitches, we're 500, but whoever motherfucker wants to come in here to the Chase Center, y'all gonna get that ass whooping. So like, as long as we make it to the postseason, we can win one on the road. We'll win all our games. You know what I'm saying? There's a mentality there. So Golden State Warriors now looking at Boston, like, and everyone in the league was like, okay, well, once Golden State figures out their road shit, they're going to be the favorites again. So everyone, that's what it did. It put Boston down a notch. If they would have came through, beat them, let's say lose to the Clippers, and then beat the Lakers like they should have, up by 18, everyone today would be like, Jason Tatum is the MVP. It is his to lose. They beat the Warriors. They're playing better basketball. That was a big game for them. Okay, they lost to the Clippers. Kawhi played great, and then they did what they were supposed to against the Lakers. The narrative takes a fucking shift of 30 points.
Coming from someone like myself, who covers the Lakers day in and day out, it was a really hard loss to suffer. A tough pill to swallow, given what you said, a lot of things. But the Boston Celtics are pretty fucking good.
They're really fucking good. They're really good. And so I'm just
watching that up close. I'm like, wow.
They're fucking really good. They have almost no deficiencies and they're getting better. But that's what, look, man, I've seen 73 wins. I've played against 67 wins. I watched with my own eyes, watched Michael Jordan do the 70. Like, I believe that they're that good. And now to me, they go from like a high 60 win team, in my opinion, not saying that they can't, but the way that they performed on this road trip, they look like a high 50 win team. That puts me in a notch of like how I view how good you are. Right? If they're a 57 win team, that's good. But I truly believe that this team could win 61, 62 if they're healthy and locked in. This was underperformance.
You have your podcast, because in an hour show, you can't get this ample time to just
and Channing's gone. So I just get to rant. I get to rant all I fucking want.
Well, kudos to you, because I think at the end of the day, too, it is a level of expectation that you have out of respect for the Boston Celtics and what you see on their roster. Having said, I did need to give you all those questions because I did think to myself, this man played 18 years. A terrible road trip at 4-2. I needed a bit.
It was a personal information in my head. It's like, where are we about to put these Celtics among the greats? Are we going to put them up with those 2000? Are we going to be having those conversations? I think that they could have beat the 2019-18 Warriors. No way. There's no way. Man, Jason Tatum, that's Kevin Durant. Fucking Jaylen Brown, blah, blah. And then you got the defense. You got Marcus Smart chasing around Steph. If those guys were to go and win 66 games and win a championship this year, those are the conversations that we would be having, right? Putting them against the elite. So I can start holding them to that elite standard, in my opinion, now, and be like, oh, that was a shitty road trip. That was terrible. Because the Golden State Warriors, when they won 73 wins, I know that they're an extreme, they would have looked at that as like a we didn't play well on that road trip.
So they're 2 7-game trips that season. I believe they both went 6-1, both trips.
6-1. Right?
Yeah,
4-2.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like the longest like a team had done. I remember seeing like a longest road trip with the highest percentage. The 4-2 is not bad. It's 4-2 with playing terrible and losing that game against the Warriors, the manner in which you did, right? Like, you are the best team in basketball showing up to the team that is 500 and they're the defending champions, and they make you look mortal. And the Clippers were watching, and you looked mortal. And the Lakers were watching, and you looked mortal. Now, you came back to beat them, but being down 12 with 4 minutes to go lets you know that for 44 minutes of that 48 minutes, you looked real mortal. Terrible road trip. That's where it came from. I'm like, y'all could be immortals, or you can fucking let people believe that they can whoop y'all ass consistently. Back-to-back nights. Like, y'all ain't even going to show no fucking punchback. Back-to-back night, Lakers up 18 against the Lakers, and they fucking take a 12-point lead. And y'all going to say, oh, we went 4-2. If your only argument is that you went 4-2 for why it was a good road trip, you're not watching the games well enough. That road trip right there should make you a little like, motherfuckers need to pick it up. We need somebody to fucking cuss somebody out. I need a team meeting. Motherfucker, I'm trying to win 68 wins and fucking go 4 through the fucking finals. Think about it.
Dad,
we went
because you've done it before.
We've done 12. Wait a second. Yeah. I've won 10 in a row in the postseason, everybody. Listen, I'm a toot my own horn. I've done that 4 times. 4 times in my career. Twice with the Cavs. Wait, did I do it twice? No, once with the fucking Nets. Once with the Nets, I did it 3 times. I've done it 3 times in my career, win 10 in a row in the postseason. That's a sweep, and 2 extra. Like, I can see what an elite team is doing.
Everybody's got a scrapbook, Richard.
I know, but I'm just saying, so I'm just giving people context.
I know, and they're going to be so mad at me.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm saying no. We all. That's my favorite line. Everyone has scrapped it. I'm saying when I say a terrible road trip, I'm looking at it from being a part of elite teams and how they would view that in a very narrow mind. The fight that Kenyon and I got into is because we were 0-4 on the road trip and we had championship aspirations and we were losing our shit. We still went on to the finals, but that was my rookie year when we got into a fight. Portland, it was like the last game of the road trip. We went 0-4 on that fucking road trip. We were all fucking antsy because that was a fucking god-awful road trip if you were serious about winning a championship. So I look at their performance over those 3 games, and I'm like, oh, this was fucking trash. I don't care if you went 4-2. Phoenix wasn't that impressive of a win. They've lost 5 in a row. Brooklyn was a good win. And Toronto was a quality win, but you're the Boston Celtics. I expect you to do those things. I expect you to do.
Fair. All right. So we only have a couple more minutes before our guest joins us. And so I'm going to allow you to pick which argument you would like to
here we go. Argument
Would
time.
you like to go off, and I'm sure it's going to be in a positive manner, on the Pelicans, having won 7 of their last 8, Zion playing out of his mind, ridiculous, or the NBA finding the Nets $25K for sitting 8 players on the back end of a back-to-back and taking it from a perspective of where do you stand on the balance of resting guys, but also maintaining the fan experience and, allowing fans to see stars play. The Nets were fined $25K for sitting Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, Nick Claxton, Seth Curry, Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, and TJ Warren.
The Clippers just did that. The Clippers just did it, right? Like,
which would you like to go on? Would you go on the Nets? Do you want to end on the Pelicans?
We're going to start with the fucking Nets, but it's not the Nets. I want to start with the league. It's not the Nets. It's the league, right?
That's what I figured. Yeah.
The Clippers just did the exact same thing.
Excuse you.
Excuse me. Whatever. I don't know if the mic was going to pick that up, but it did. So my thing is this. No, hear me out. If that's you're going to do that, and it's like, there's something to be had about sneaking a win when you're a man or 2 down and giving somebody. And it's like, well, we don't want to burn out our secondary players. This is a day of rest. This is not the fucking players. I'm trying to tell you guys, this isn't the players doing that. And there was a time where you would only do it with older players and younger players. For instance, this is how I just give you guys another example. When Kenyon Martin, if you guys remember, if you're old Nets fans, he was getting in a lot of like flagrant fouls my rookie year. He was getting tons of flagrant fouls. He kept getting suspended. It was like a big thing because he was fucking people up. And we're going to show some highlights across this. So that's when I got to start. I played in as many games as I could. I played in 70-something games my rookie year, but that's were the games that I got to start. Now, I averaged 9 points a game, just under 10 points a game, and like 3 rebounds. But they saw in my like 7 or 8 starts in Kenyon's absence, my numbers went to 15 points a game and 5 rebounds. And they're like, holy shit, this kid should be starting. It's a larger sample size. This was done because those were the starting opportunities that I got. Now, that allowed for them to trade Keith Van Horn during that summer, go get Dikembe, and then push me into the starting lineup. So because of the work I did when somebody was out, that's what gave me the opportunity to get into the starting lineup and boom, more forward. My point, long story short, is this. Some of these guys are missing out on opportunity of growth, right? Opportunity of like getting better, right? Like I understand rest and I understand all this stuff, but when you're sitting like you're just conceding the game, right? And it's like you can rest, you can stagger guys rest. Like, hey, we're going to let our 2 stars, or we're going to let one of our stars rest tonight. Everyone's going to go out. We're going to do this. This is how we're going to play it. Then, a couple games later, let a different star rest. Why are you just going to like, oh, we're going to let everybody rest? Because someone's still going to roll their ankle, unfortunately. Someone's still going to miss some time because of back tightness in 3 games because something's going to happen in a game. So the rest is just over the top, and it is disrespectful. It's disrespectful. Like rest 2 guys, stagger your rest, make sure, you know what I'm saying? Give some people some load management. But when you just take 7 off, you're doing it in front of the faces, and it's not the players. It's not the players. It's not. It's the sports science teams that the teams are hiring, that the owners are hiring. There's having people sit out because they want to protect their investment, and they want to. It's like your investment is made to go play.
Yeah,
it's fucking ignorant. There's no argument for it. Don't tell me load management. Yes, professional sports. Baseball's 160 games. Football knows what's going on, and they are adding games. And they know what's going on to their players. And they're adding games. We're just saying don't take away and just let the fuckers play like they have for the last fucking 76 years. And owners and sports science teams are like, well, they're load managed. Well, it does this, and this would be the best time. And it's like, okay, so now players are averaging 70 games or 68 games a season, 25-year-old kids resting. Like, bro.
My name is Richard Jefferson. Welcome to my TED Talk. That was amazing. I could actually listen to that side that you've always been consistent with forever because one, you've lived it, obviously.
Love the game. Play the game. It can be taken away from you at any moment. The game can be taken away from you at any moment. No game is guaranteed. I am fucking like 96 or 76 points away from 15,000. From 15,000.
Have you officially retired?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't even know how that works. But my point is that like I'm that far away from like nothing's guaranteed from you. Nothing's guaranteed. Like milk everything. Rest when you're fucking dead, as they say. Like if you're injured, yes, but don't just take time off because your other teammates are taking time off. And I don't want to go out there by myself because I've heard that from superstars. I've heard other superstars say, well, if you guys are going to take time off, I'm going to take time off. Just in front of us. And you're like, it's like, well, no, these but I'm saying like, yeah, it's like, some of these guys are fucking 50 years old. Right. And it's like, bro, you're fucking 9, right? You're fucking 29. You're fucking 30. You fucking play with the rest of us. Because now you're going to have my 35-year-old ass out here playing fucking 28 minutes. And then
you did have those games.
I did have those games. I did have tons of those games. I was playing fucking 38 minutes at the start of fucking my first year at the Cavs. I was fucking gassed in the middle. I'm like, yo, bro, like I'm here to replace Mike Miller and Sean Marion. Like, I'm not here to be your starting small forward. Like, what the fuck?
Unless it's game 7 of the NBA Finals.
I'm locked in, but like I don't have 82 games at that usage rate anymore. Right? Like I can fucking knock down a corner 3, give you 15, 18 minutes of very good defense, catch a lob, dunk on somebody, finish. That's it. I ain't running pick and rolls. I'm not asking for post up ISOs. That was fucking.
I don't need to focus on whether I should close out in the quarter strong side.
That's me at 25. Me at 35 is I'm going to stand here. If you need me, they're not going to fucking leave me. So let's go.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, we've reached that point. Our Chase Freedom Cashback Player of the Week presented by Chase. What player? I actually probably just walked you into which player you should be talking about when I gave you a chance to talk about either the Nets or the Pelicans.
Well, I think
you get to pick your player.
Okay. All right. My Chase Player of the Week. Just give me a moment. I'm just evaluating some of the things that I've seen. I think the Pelicans is an easy answer. I'm going to say this.
Not a team, a player.
I know.
Oh, okay,
and this is why.
I was just making sure you knew. Why? Okay.
This week, and it's just going to seem a little homerish, and it is, but I'm just going to say it. It's Donovan Mitchell. And this is why. Donovan Mitchell, the Cavs have been playing terrible on the road. They had really struggled on the road.
Worse than the Warriors?
And no, they're not that bad. But I feel like they had lost like 5 or 6 or something, or 6 in a row. Something they had really struggled on the road. And they go into Dallas, battle with Luka, and come out and win that one. That's a big win. See, that's for a team struggling on the road. You go beat Luka's Mavs. That's a very good team. You go beat them on the road. That can fucking jumpstart your season. That can get you, okay, now we had that stretch. Now we might win 4 out of 5 on the road because we're starting to get our mojo back. If we can go into Dallas, we can go into Detroit, right? If we can go into Detroit, we can fucking go into Orlando. Now you get going a little bit. So, like, that's why that was one of those sneaky big wins because it's an easy place to go. Dallas is a fun city. It's fucking, you go out there, you fucking lose another one. It's like, hey, Dallas, that we played hard, right? You fucking won it. That's my
Donovan Mitchell.
I'm going Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, I'm a little homerish, but it was because I was paying attention and I was like, yo, that's a big win.
Rightfully so. Donovan Mitchell's our Chase Freedom Cashback Player of the Week presented by Chase. Are you ready for our guest? He has arrived.
But real quick, I just want to make sure that you guys know that, like, Allie, you've known me for so long, and you know how much respect I have for this industry and, like, the broadcasting industry and, like, how I'm fascinated by it and, like, competitive, all this stuff. Like, our next guest, when I first met him, I was, like, super stoked because I'm like, bro, I recognize what you're doing. Like the teleprompter, the all of the how you're managing, like, all your success as a former athlete. I'm like, I don't think you're getting the flowers you deserve. Like, because I like, just like how when you're a basketball player growing up, you have people that you look to. It's like, oh, Michael Jordan, he's the best. Well, there are certain people now in my space that I look to. Nate Burleson's one of them, Strahan, and, you know, obviously our next guest. So just before we get in there, I just want to make sure that is, you know, known to our viewers. Like, what he's doing is, like, really, really groundbreaking and fucking big time. And he's awesome. So I'm glad we're boys.
Hey, it's Kevin Hart with my friend Catherine O'Hara.
Tis I.
And we're cash backing on our entire holiday gift list with Chase Freedom Unlimited.
We are. How about cologne for Jack?
You know what? That's cash backing, and it's in the air.
Ooh, and I love this scarf for Barbara.
And I love the cash backing.
Ooh, focus on the giving, Kev.
And one more on the list. Somebody named Kev.
Kevin!
Yes! How do you cash back? Learn more at chasefreedom.com. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
This episode of Road Trippin is brought to you by Mendi. Mendi offers a line of safe and trusted hemp-derived CBD products, and I cannot skip out on the fact that they are a women-owned company. I know what you're thinking, Allie, wow, you've never sounded this hype when you're doing these reads. Well, it's because I had a full night's rest last night. Since learning about Mendi, I've been eating their delicious gummies and using their CB stick morning, day, and night. And before bed, I take some of Mendi's sleep tincture and always get a good night rest. I woke up today with a ton of energy and was ready to roll. Even though I've been jam-packed with a travel and TV schedule, Mendi's products, they're all natural for pain, sleep, stress, and energy. With Mendi, you have a choice between full spectrum and no THC. Mendi is a safe, inclusive choice if you're new to CBD. And oh, did I mention they are a women-owned company? Some things are just worth saying twice. Listen up, road trippers. You can save 30% off your first Mendi purchase with this exclusive offer. Just enter the promo code ROADTRIPPIN at checkout today. That's 30% off your first Mendi purchase when you enter the promo code ROADTRIPPIN at checkout today. Hey, road trippers. Channing, Richard, and I all live on the West Coast now, but we love watching our Cavs, which used to be a pain for us because they don't always show their games in our local markets. But this season, we discovered an amazing trick that left us watching every single NBA game live for a fraction of the normal cost. It's called ExpressVPN, and here's how it works. Sure, the NBA offers League Pass, which lets you stream games online, but if you live outside the US or Canada, it doesn't let you watch all of them. Some games, they're blacked out. So what do? You fire up ExpressVPN and use it to change your location to a different country, buy and purchase NBA League Pass from there, and boom, no more blackouts. And depending on the country, NBA League Pass could cost less than $15 for a whole year. ExpressVPN works on your computer, phone, router, and consoles like Fire TV, so you can watch all the games from any device. Even when you're not watching NBA games, we're using ExpressVPN for stuff like Netflix or Disney Plus to access thousands of extra shows that are only available on other countries' libraries. Enjoy all 1,230 games of the NBA season in crystal clear HD with the world's most trusted VPN, ExpressVPN. Use our special link today and get free 3 months at expressvpn.com/roadtrippin. Then you can use ExpressVPN to sign up for NBA League Pass at a huge discount. That's expressvpn.com/roadtrippin for 3 months free with a 1-year package. expressvpn.com/roadtrippin. Akbar, normally it's the three of us, and we could actually include this in because we are going to begin this podcast, this edition of Road Trippin with RJ and Channing. I'm your host, Allie Clifton, alongside Richard Jefferson. And normally our guest, Akbar Gbajabiamila, is joining us. We are so excited. We're going to dive into all things related to him. Normally, Richard's the one that has moments where he's not on the pod. It's always Channing and I. But today, Akbar, we just got word that a tree fell on a power line outside of Channing's home. And so his internet is down. Richard, am I lying? Am I lying?
Are you what about what part? The Channing part or the me part?
Normally, when it comes to the internet technical difficulties, it's you.
Okay, let me say this. Yes. I've had stretches where everything that could go wrong will go wrong consecutively. And this might be, I feel like today's not the day, but 99% of the time that we record a podcast, a garbage truck drives by my house at that exact time every single day, regardless of what time we do it. Right. So I do have that stretch. But Akbar, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Absolutely. I will say, though, you must invest in a little studio at the crib. I did this prior to the pandemic, and my wife was like, "Oh my goodness, why are you spending on?" I got the sound walls, I got the whole thing, all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I went with a robust internet system. I was at the NFL Network years ago, and I was like, man, how does their internet never fall out? I want that. And so I put that, all them wires and Cat 6s and all this meows. And I put all that in the house. You got to have that. So that way you never.
Was it great? Was it great?
Yes. Yeah. I'm just not using it right now, though. But yes, it was great. Never had a problem.
You know what I love about this is that you yourself are a pro. Coming in as a guest on our podcast, you're a pro, obviously. You're a host of The Talk on CBS. You're also the host of American Ninja Warrior on NBC. You're also an author of Everyone Can Be a Ninja. You're a man of many hats. Mm-hmm. But before we dive into all of this, I was just on your Instagram, and you did something fun the other day. So I wanted to kind of start this podcast and quiz you. Okay. Because not only did you play in the NFL, but I've heard through the grapevine you're a big hoops fan. Yes. So that may or may have something to do with this, but I'm going to quiz you on this first thing that comes to your head, and I'm going to give you names, and you go from there, all right?
All right.
All right, ready? Yep. Bill.
Walton.
Ooh, John.
Makovich. Makovich. Yeah.
We all know.
You know I was up. Yeah, I'm going old school.
Everyone in the world. Everyone knows. Everyone knows.
Tim.
Ooh. If this is basketball, we're just staying with basketball?
No, whatever you want.
Oh, okay. Tim Hardaway or Tim Brown.
Oh.
Shout out
to Tim Brown. Shout out Tim. Yeah.
God,
you're old.
Michael.
Jordan.
Kevin.
Ooh, Johnson.
Isaiah.
I didn't want to go Durant. I'm a Lakers fan, but I digress. But go ahead.
Isaiah.
Thomas.
Charles.
Barkley.
Larry.
Johnson.
Wow. Okay,
Grandmama. Don't forget Grandmama.
Grandmama.
Oh, the React juice and the Converse.
Yes.
Come on.
I loved seeing that on your Instagram, and obviously it's interesting where our minds go, because I had all of them: Bill Russell, John Stockton, Tim Duncan, and they were all a part of the Hoops Hall, obviously Hall of Fame. So I went that route, but I loved where your brain went. That's fun. That's awesome. Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, you kind of pinned me into that because you said basketball, so my brain went straight and shifted. I could have gone all over the place, but I try to stay in basketball.
I will keep that in mind when I do that on someone else. I can't give it away. I got you.
No, I would have liked to play that game. I'm just saying she sees stuff. She just brings out all the cool stuff for the guest, and I'm just like, I'm over here answering those questions because I'm thinking here like that would be a really good scientific test to just say those names and see what does pop into people's heads. They're like not even sports related.
Why don't you do it to Rich? I feel like you're really good on your feet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I do. All of our answers were like you guys know him when they go, but go ahead.
Okay, Joe. Richard, there's only one Joe. There's only one Joe in football. What are you doing?
Are we? Oh, this was the thing. I had a friend.
Montana.
My question was: Are we doing football, basketball? What are we doing?
You can do whatever.
So it doesn't matter. Just anything that goes to your head. I don't know how this works. That's what I'm saying. I was curious about the game.
Football. We're gonna go football. I did basketball.
Okay.
And so
football. Okay, football. All right, full. Okay, lock in.
Okay, lock in. All right.
Joe.
Yeah. All right. Watch this one, Allie. Watch this. Richard. Are you kidding?
Sherman.
That was delayed. It must have been your internet. Okay.
Yeah.
The garbage truck.
Okay. Here.
Okay, I'm focused.
Okay. Jamarcus.
Russell.
Okay, good. Larry.
Now stop doing that. Stop whispering.
Allie was that person in school that always was giving the answers.
Gosh, right? Getting us both in trouble because she can't whisper. Jeez. Like, I don't
think. Use your brain.
I'm struggling. Yes, like Fitzgerald.
Okay. All right.
I thought Larry O'Brien. I hear Larry. I think Larry O'Brien. I can't get that out of my head. So I'm like, Larry O'Brien is a real person, but you're thinking of the trophy. But keep going. Sorry,
okay,
I heard Larry.
Vince.
Young.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I'm not mad at that. I thought you were going to go Lombardi, but you went Young. Okay. Oh boy.
I know him. I know him as Vic.
Wow, this is amazing.
Okay. All right. Last one.
We're on a first name basis. We're on a first name basis. All right.
All right. Last one from me. I'm trying to go with one. I'm trying to go with the name. Gbjabiamila.
Ferguson.
Wow, I did not know you were going to get that one. I actually judged you, and I said I'm going to go with the. There's only one Gbjabiamila.
There's only one. Okay, look, I am not a football guy. I was not a multi-sport athlete like yourself. I was not that. But my father or my stepdad is from Philadelphia. So like, he's like a South Philly through and through individual. So it was like Sundays, it was like he wasn't going to church if Randall Cunningham, Keith Byers, Reggie White, if like all of these dudes were playing. He wasn't going anywhere. So I was raised in a football home. I just didn't play football.
You won me over when you knew Gbjabiamila because you either know or you don't know. So
you gotta like that. That's a name you gotta know. You gotta know. Yeah, right. Certain names.
What about Joe Montana? We didn't need to know. Okay.
No, look, my brain's not functioning at a full speed right now.
Kidding. Akbar, this is interesting. Yes. Speaking of Philadelphia, we actually had Max Struess on our podcast a week or two ago, and he, Channing, and Rich have all thrown out a first pitch. I heard yours was pretty good.
Oh, how do we keep getting these people?
I actually haven't seen your first pitch, but I heard it was interesting.
Oh my God.
Well, Allie, I appreciate the setup, and let me just say, I feel like you and Richard kind of played that well. Like, I grew up in Philadelphia. That's a great segue into. Look, I have
you get
never.
TV, you get it.
My God, bro!
I'm gonna put it like this.
Just be honest.
I never thought that anyone would ever ask me to throw out a first pitch. And we're filming Ninja Warrior in Philadelphia, and they were so kind. They let me do my book tour there at the stadium. The fans there were very gracious. I'm a California kid. I don't think anybody knows me in Philadelphia. And they say, "Would you throw out the first pitch?" I'm like, "Oh man, this is great!" And I'm not gonna lie. They go, "And the host of American Ninja Warrior, Akbar Gbajabiamila." You hear the fans. I was like, "Man, that's kind of cool." I'm humbled at this point. Yeah. I'm like, but the night before, I went out and I Googled like all the people who's thrown on first pitch, and I saw George W. Bush throw like a just looking real old and unathletic, and Barack Obama looked very presidential when he threw it. I was like, I need them to know that even though I'm a retired NFL guy, I could still maybe, if I wanted to, play baseball, and I'm a lefty. So I figured, you know what? It's not that hard. Now, mind you, I didn't play baseball ever in my life. Never even been on a mound. Never. It was my first time on a mound. I was surprised at how far back this mound was from home plate. And so when I get there, I go, oh boy, this is interesting. Let me just cheat a little bit. So I came down that hill, the little mount thingy, whatever, and I went back to one of my favorite pitchers of all time because his legs used to stick out, Dennis Eckersley. I thought, I'm about to Dennis Eckersley them. And I threw that ball out, and it didn't go where it was supposed to. And many were saying that this was the worst pitch ever, but it wasn't. It really wasn't. I felt like it was, it was interesting. Let's just say that.
Look, okay.
There's no proof. So this is a podcast, right? So nobody has visual proof.
No. This is we're recording all of this. We are going to splice it. Even if it was an audio podcast, we were going to get the footage and put it over the video for social media. So it's going to get seen because we have to acknowledge it. And I say this with the utmost respect. The left, the kick leg, beautiful. The technique, like you held it. You didn't just do the little like, hey, this is what I'm doing. You put it out. You held it.
I did.
And then you had the windup. You went to throw. And then it was like, to me, it felt like you glitched and you didn't want to let go of the ball. That's what happened. You glitched and you're like, oh shit, this is real. Don't throw this ball. And then at the last minute, it's like, that's what happens. Like, you ever see a quarterback get sacked as he's in his throwing motion and the ball just goes straight down? I don't think I've ever seen it. There was an indentation in the grass in front of you. There was how did you put an indentation in it?
You know, it was Philly Fanatic watched it, and it was crazy.
How did Philly fans treat you? How did Philly fans treat you?
They booed me. They booed me afterwards. I was like, that would have been the perfect Southwest commercial. Want to get away.
Want to get away. You're like, dude. I grew up with a.
Are you literally trying to break down a two seam? Is that what you're really trying to break down?
Yes.
I went
he threw a fastball.
Oh.
Allie, come on. It wasn't that bad.
I mean,
right?
you couldn't have had a bigger target. That was bad.
Oh my goodness.
The best news about it is not the worst one to have been on here. Channing threw his 8 feet left sidearm, never threw on a mound, never did anything. Look, I'm a natural athlete, right? Like I am a natural athlete. Mine was purely like, again, first of all, I'm a prep person. So one of my buddies, Nate Staggs, former minor league pitcher, said, hey, let's go throw around the ball a little bit. So went to Miracosta High School, threw around a couple of pitches, got on the mound, just a couple of times to start, just so I could see it, feel the distance, get the energy. You had never done that again. That was mistake one.
Right.
And so I threw it. So mistake one. So then I get there and all they're saying is like, just don't throw it in the dirt. So again, my shit was like, just don't throw it in the dirt. Right. That's all you got to do. It is far.
Did you lob it though? Did you just
lob it? I lobbed it like a motherfucker. I lobbed it. I fucking threw a fucking cupcake up there because it's like, as long like, and if you try and throw it with pace and you throw it too high, it's going to go over their head. It's a whole thing. Just loft it up there, even if the catcher has to jump and catch it. Yeah, I was good.
No, I wasn't going for the lob, but what I did was embarrass myself. And my dad, who doesn't, my dad, was from Nigeria, came to this country in 1974. My dad never really got into the American sport thing. Like when we would play ball growing up, he just thought, well, why are you guys in this athletics? Okay, go do this athletics. He always added it into it. And so I remember him calling me, and he doesn't watch Sports Center or anything like that. He go, why did you embarrass instead of embarrass? Why did you embarrass the family like that? What was that? I was like, my dad is getting on me. I was like, Dad, you don't even watch baseball. You embarrass
and it's
the
like
family.
lefties. Yeah, lefties normally have a really natural throwing motion. Like it was really unathletic. Like that's what like. Okay. No, and I say this as I say it out of surprise, not as disrespectful. It's just like, dude, you could play any sport you want. Like, are you listening to this? I was just surprised. It's like watching MJ airball a free throw. You're like, oh,
okay. Oh. I have the perfect excuse, and it's not even an excuse. It's real. I blame Darryl Strawberry. Darryl Strawberry and I went to the same high school at different times. Of course, he's one of the all-time greatest baseball players to ever come out of Crenshaw High School. We all know Darryl Strawberry. But after that era, baseball just wasn't played in the hood anymore. And so I am a product of the fact that we don't play baseball in the hood. I grew up playing football and basketball. That was it. So I have a legitimate excuse. I had never been on a mound before. Here I am as a grown man. I had never been on a mound before. But
same here. One of my proudest moments as a father, and people might find this to be weird, I don't give a shit, is that my kids play in Little League. The fact that my kids play in Little League, and because I wasn't able to afford baseball, I couldn't play baseball. Basketball was free, and football, they'll give you pads once you get to high school. So it's like both of those sports, it's tailored. Baseball is something that you have to play growing up, and little leagues cost money and cleats cost money. That shit's expensive. And I got money, and that shit's expensive. So, but it is a proud moment to see like my son, because not a lot of black people, Jackie Robinson is an icon, and not a lot of black kids are playing baseball. And I think it's a shame, man, but because my sons love it, right? When they do fucking pay attention, they love it. So like, I get your pain of never playing baseball growing up.
Yeah. I will say this though, Akbar, I never really understood or heard, I guess, the backstory to Rich and realizing that he just lobbed it up there. And I, coming from someone that's
there was some pace. There was some pace.
A first pitch, I really can't say a whole lot because, it does look scary as hell. I give you a lot of credit for taking the risk. The form was phenomenal. I'm always someone that likes to play with a little force. So I would give you the upper hand.
Don't. This is not everyone gets a
No, I took a chance.
Prize Rich, so
you did. I mean, compare. We need to do a.
There's no participation trophies. We are all Division I athletes here. We are all Division I athletes. We don't give participation trophies where we come from.
Allie
played Division I basketball at Toledo.
Yes.
Allie, can you do me a favor and let's put this together on social
side by side.
Side by side, and we can break it down. Who had the best form? Everyone's going to say me.
Oh,
who went out there?
Oh my God!
And who put the heat on it?
Thank you. Let's light this candle.
Hey, you did this like a presidential lob, you're
like finesse. Finesse.
It was like finesse. Like, what was
Some might call it a gentleman's lob, right? Somebody might call that, right? It's a gentleman's lob. I'm not out here. Right, I'm not out here trying to like flex and show off. I'm not trying to be out here and embarrass. However you said my family.
Shout out to Pops. You both have a TikTok. I am not a fan of TikTok, so Rich knows this. So as long as we transfer, do the side by side on TikTok, you guys cover the world with it, and then bring it over to Instagram to my world. That'd be a great social piece. While we have you, Akbar, so you are a hoops fan. Right?
I am. Yeah. Yep.
Who's your team? Who do you follow? Who do you love? Give us a backstory.
Born and raised a Los Angeles Lakers fan. This hasn't been, the best year for us, but I'm born and raised a Lakers fan. I will tell you this: I've never understood how people could be a Clippers fan. When I was growing up, I went to Audubon Middle School, and if you had perfect attendance. This was like the worst thing they could ever do. But if you had perfect attendance, they'd give you tickets to go watch the Clippers at the sports arena. Nobody would take the tickets. Nobody. I would take it sometimes just to get out of the house so I didn't have to do dishes or something like that. And I'd be running around the arena, doing whatever, like just so I didn't have to do dishes or chores when I came. But that's how bad it was. And then to see people like Marcellus Wiley and some of these people who swear by the Clippers, I'm just going, there's no way I could ever be a Clippers fan. So being in LA, here are the teams. If you guys want to know the teams to root for in Los Angeles. Football, you have to root for the Los Angeles Chargers. So, Allie, you can't wear Los Angeles Rams shirt or whatever it is that you're wearing. Now, no,
I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay, but there are two teams in LA that you root for: the LA Raiders, used to be LA Raiders, and the LA Chargers. That's it. Those are your only choice in LA. Basketball, it's only one choice: the Lakers, dominant. Baseball, only one choice: the Dodgers. And of course, we know hockey. That's it. So with the Kings. But,
and the Sparks.
Yeah.
Okay. Really quickly.
And the Sparks. Absolutely the Sparks. Absolutely.
Okay. Shout out Angel City. Okay. Yes. Thank you. The Rams. We're going to get to that. I feel like there might be a smidge of a bias. I feel like there might be a reason why you are so adamant about not including the defending Super Bowl champions, Los Angeles Rams. It's fine. It's just saying there might be a bias. That's the one thing that we're gonna have to discuss. Now, I'll say this, as a person that was born here in Los Angeles, my mom went to Dorsey, my dad went to Morningside. Yeah.
Your mom
Same
went to
hood.
Dorsey?
Yeah, same hood. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Same. As soon as the Crenshaw High, I was like, oh, here we go. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, my mom was a Dorsey Don. There is no way that you would ever root for the Chargers in any situation here in Los Angeles, California. That is saying the Mets are the baseball team in New York. That's what it's like saying. That's how far gone that is even remotely said. San Diego people would be offended by that actual statement. San Diego people would be offended by that statement. That's just my thoughts.
Allie, can you get them off of me, please? I mean, Allie's not supporting me because she has a Rams.
I'm a Browns fan. Blue's just good for my eyes. And I'm born and raised in Ohio. My team, the Browns, the Guardians, the Cavs. I am an Ohio fan through and through. Buckeyes.
My apologies. I didn't realize that you were suffering like that. Because those teams clearly.
We're finally in agreements. All right. So listen. I get to show a little love here. Like when we met. I think it was around Super Bowl. Before that, I had opportunity. Exchange informations, and I was always a really, really big fan because I knew that you were a former athlete, and then to watch your transition from doing Ninja Warrior and that blowing up, and watching your success there, and then watching you like transition into like daytime television. I don't think that like you get the credit that you fully deserve. For like, the doors that you are opening up and the way I look at it, it's, Strahan, it's Burleson, and it's you, right? Like you guys have done so much stuff for all the next generation, right? Of guys trying to come in. And so look, I want to know your story, from you. Like, how did you find American Ninja Warrior? How did that go? What was the audition like? When it started from like, oh, this might be a cool little show to being like a global U.S. sensation. Like, what was that kind of like, how did you get into it? And then that moment, what you felt?
Well, Richard, Allie, it's crazy because when I left the NFL, it's no surprise, I didn't have a big NFL career. I was a journeyman in the NFL. My brother was a big time, star in the NFL. And ultimately, when you look at the landscape of broadcasting, it was typically reserved for guys who are, big name guys, Super Bowl rings, playoffs, all pros, something like that. I had none of those credentials. And so it made it extremely difficult. And so I used what I call the backdoor approach. I started locally in San Diego because I played for the Chargers. I played for the San Diego State Aztecs. And so I started building my reps with the local TV station there. That then led me into doing college football. College football led me into doing the NFL Network. And I was like, man, like, this is cool. I finally got that opportunity. But I started doing fantasy football, which at that time, no former professional football player wanted to talk about fantasy because it was beneath them. And I was like, well, it's not beneath me. I'll talk about it. So that's how I got my opportunity to be on the NFL Network. I did that for 8 years. But my second year at the NFL Network in 2013, I got a call from my agent and was like, yo, there's this audition. I guess, at the time, somebody from Ninja Warrior saw me on the NFL Network and was like, hey, let's bring this guy in for an audition. And, when you're in LA, you go on a million auditions and you get a million no's. And at that point, I had already gotten 1,000,001 no's about everything that I was auditioning for. So I actually went in there just like, I don't care. I'm just going to go ahead and just mess around. And I went into that audition and I was free from the pressure of, I got to get this gig. And I think that allowed me to be more me in that audition rather than trying to be this button-up version of what we saw, whether it was through Stuart Scott, rest in peace, or, some of these other icons that we've seen on TV. So I actually just went in there and I was just cutting up. I saw the tape. It was very sterile at the time, just very basic. And I just brought the energy that I would normally bring if I was watching something crazy like that on TV with my boys. And that's what then got me the opportunity. I would have never thought in a million years. I lied. They asked me if I ever watched it. I told them, oh yeah, I watched it. I just watched what they sent me and said, yeah, I watched it. And then 11 years later, here I am, doing American Ninja Warrior.
Wow.
But yeah, it was such a blessing and interesting because what inspired me was when I saw WWE. I grew up a big WWE fan. So I've had the opportunity to tell Vince McMahon. I've had the opportunity to tell Shane, his daughter, Shannon. I think it's Shannon. Yep. And I've had an opportunity to tell the McMahon family how much WWE meant to me and how it helped me get this job because I was able to utilize all the commentators that I've ever heard WWE growing up and put my own spin on it. So, they exaggerate a lot. But for me, I didn't exaggerate. I was genuinely in awe. And I think being new to Ninja Warrior helped me because I had never seen human beings move like that. I'm like, what? Oh my goodness. And that kind of intensity really just took Ninja Warrior and the combination with me and Matt Eisman. It was just, it was heaven. It was heaven in the booth.
What is the balance? Oh, you got it. No, you got it.
No, I was going to say my kids, I let my kids watch like the kids Ninja Warrior, which is awesome. The kids Ninja Warrior is crazy watching these little kids train and like do all this stuff. And I be looking at my kids. I be looking at them too. Like, you see what these kids doing? You see what they doing? You see, they out here training. Training. 6 years old. You see this kid? Yeah, I don't eat sugar. And it's like always some like really funny, like the kids are super sweet, but there's some extremist sides to them of like, yo, kid, man, like go climb a tree. Like y'all training, right? But I just look at my kids like, really, Lil Rich? You can't even do 10 push-ups. This kid's got to do 19 pull-ups, bro. And they,
my kids find the same inspiration. Yeah, they find the same inspiration because it is.
Yeah, they love it. My kids love it.
When you watch it and it makes you go, man, I can do that, or I want to do that. That's the feeling you get when you watch Ninja Warrior. Because again, it's just not normal to see human beings move like real life Avengers, No.
Yeah. Go ahead.
How much does like doing that, but then you're also, the host on the talk. How do those kind of like go in do they go in tandem? Do they help one another? How much do they benefit just in terms of you and your profession and all the success that you've had? How do you kind of balance all of that and how much do they kind of intertwine?
I don't think they intertwine that much. I think the one thing that helped me into the talk show space, into daytime television, was being used to being me. There's a huge learning curve I had to have on there's one thing to do, sports commentary. There's another thing when you're doing sports entertainment. Ninja Warrior is sports entertainment. So part of it is being comfortable being you and just being able to be expressive and, all of that stuff. And I think that part translated because it was hard. My very first year, I struggled on Ninja Warrior, reading teleprompter and doing my stand-ups, and it was just so awkward, and I felt dumb, and I felt insecure. And
we all feel the same way.
Yeah, it was just so bad. And I was just like, this is awful. And then I remember when, my first year, I was trying to bring in some of the stuff, like the flavor that, how I speak to my friends, and they, network can be a little uptight, and they're like, maybe not say that, and can you say this? And anyways, when I found my voice, it was like, it was working, and everyone just left me alone. If you speak this way, if you say it this way, if it comes out that way, just let him be. And it's crazy how the confidence that grows inside when you can just be you. And so when I got the opportunity to do the talk, I said to myself, what I wanted to bring to the talk show was authenticity, because I feel like authenticity is, especially in this generation, whether you look at social media, people don't want the polished and the buttoned up. They just want you to be real. They want you to be authentic. It's what I love about you guys and your, in your podcast, and the connection that you have, the authenticity, the real. It doesn't have to be this buttoned up product, And so that's ultimately what I try to bring to the talk. And then a lot of my real life stuff as a father. One of the things that I was super excited about was, I feel like, especially on the talk show space, like when you see some of the other competitors out there, it's always bashing men. And what I love that the talk brought two men on the show to be able to give our perspective on how we see relationships, on how we see life, and, and be able to see, hear from men. Because, and you talk to a lot of men don't have that space to be able to really go deep like that without being crushed or being put in a box as being misogynistic or whatever the labels are.
Thank you for saying that, because I actually, as a woman in today's day and age and in our space, sports, etc., I'm very proud to be a female. I'm very proud to be a woman in this space. I think that we are doing such great work. We are making progress. We are showing that we belong, because we do. There are incredible women out there, but I've always said it too. Without the men and the incredible, brilliant minds of men in this business as well, we don't coexist. We don't have the success overall that we're showing we can have. And so I love to just hear that perspective from you as well. And I've always told that to Rich too. I think we can coexist in this industry and all experience the success as one in abundance. So I love that.
Ali, go ahead, Rich. Yeah. No, I was going to say that's a great point. I was going to say that was a great point that you're making. I think this idea of coexisting together, it doesn't have to be, women bashing men and men bashing women. Like, to be able to have our differences, appreciate our differences, being able to have conversations. I say conversation over confrontation. And oftentimes, I know it sells to be able to have confrontation on men do this and men aren't this and men, and then women. And it's just like, there's a whole nother type of television that I think, especially the younger viewers, like, how do we coexist? How do we work together? What are the things that we can learn? I'm going to go off on a little tangent here, but
please.
Just recently, Oprah Winfrey was talking about her experiences with menopause. And we talked about this on the talk. And I was like, what's crazy? I have a sister, but she's not at that age. I have a mother. My mother's passed. She passed at 53. But I'm sure she was experiencing those things. But all the women and older women in my life have never had the conversation, right? And it's just like, so we've been excluded from these conversations, but yet men are required to be empathetic and to understand. I'm like, you can't be empathetic or understand something that you've never had a conversation or education about, right? And so I saw that, I was like, man, this is why it's important to be able to coexist, to be able to be open with conversation, even if it's like something as taboo as a woman's monthly, being able to have that. I put that on my social. My wife asked me a question. I was like, yeah, I was like, these are questions that I don't really have, but I'm just like, there's nothing wrong with having these conversations. So we're changing the conversation dynamics, because then, people are constantly trying to learn now. You see, this is why we go to the social and we go in, because people are be more expressive on these channels than you would see on traditional media.
Dude, you said it so well, because if you're going to have these conversations, the sooner you start being educated on these conversations, the easier they become. If you have these conversations with if like a kid understands what grandma's going through, he's going to be more understanding of it at 18 when mom's going through it. He'll be more understanding at 45, 50 when his wife is going through it. You know what I'm saying? Like there is an education that, you know, if you understand it and like based off of like whatever is age appropriate, but like, yeah, right. Like the more conversations that I think, you know, we have just about where as men and that's why I like you guys have respectful conversations. That's the part that I dig. It doesn't mean you agree all the time, but there's still respectful conversations. Even within disagreement, it's still a conversation. Some of the other stuff is not for me personally, right? Yeah. It's not for me personally, but other people enjoy it, and that's on them. They can be wrong.
Right. Yeah, no, it's literally there's power.
Yeah. I think this conversation right here is literally the epitome of our title, Road Trippin. We were all over the map, and I love it. Oftentimes we come on here and we talk about sports, but sometimes we just talk about life. And I think the both of you are obviously so great at having these discussions. We don't want to keep you too long, Akbar. Obviously, we appreciate your time. But I do want to ask what's next for American Ninja Warrior? What's next for you? You do have, as I mentioned, everyone can be a ninja. I assume that's because of American Ninja Warrior. There's like a play into that. Yep. What's the book
there
about?
Is a play. Yeah. Everyone can be a ninja was a play off of Ninja Warrior. I had an aha moment before my 40th birthday. And I'm going, you know what? Life is just like American Ninja Warrior. You have one obstacle after the next obstacle. And I always love that in between each obstacle, there's a little platform where the competitors, but you'll see these athletes going from one platform to the next platform, and they take a break before they hit the next obstacle. And they're just kind of like, yes, I did it. You know, they cheer themselves on, and then they're hopping on to the next one. And they do that for 6 or 10 obstacles. And I'm like, man, isn't this just like life? And sometimes you drop off at the third, and you got to come back around the next year and try again, and they get a little further. So true. And I start thinking about all the obstacles in my life, in some of my friends' life that we've had to overcome. And then what's the secret? Because I was inspired by some of these ninjas who are competing with one leg. Like we had this guy, AT3, or we had this, you know, former wrestler who had, you know, one leg and competing. I'm like, man, this is it. I should do a book about this. And so part of the book is some of the experiences that I had growing up, some of the experiences in making the transition from the NFL into TV, identity crisis. Then I talked in and Chad, you know, chimed in for other friends like Allison Felix and some of the stuff that she went through growing up. And then some of the ninjas and some of their experiences. One of my good friends, former teammate Nnamdi Asamoah, telling his story. So people start to understand, and it's a collection of stories, myself, ninjas, former athletes, where we're talking about how to overcome obstacles and ultimately get to that buzzer at the end and being able to hit that and being able to see your full potential. Because oftentimes people don't get on the other side of fear or the obstacles because, you know, they're nervous, they're insecure, they're unsure. So everyone can be a ninja as a play off of that, and that you can be a ninja in life. You may not be a ninja on the course, but you definitely can be a ninja warrior in life.
I love that. Awesome, getting man. To the buzzer.
Yeah,
on the other side of fear is oftentimes growth. I love it. Yep. Rich, anything else for Akbar before we
No, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, just been a big fan, and I've always, you know, I've been watching your work. That's why I was super excited to meet you and connect you. And thank you for coming over here. Ali, I don't know if I told you, but he said some really nice things about our conversation with Jason Collins. That was really that was really fun when we met. And I was like, yes, that was cool. So
can I just say something?
Go ahead.
Can I say something? I'm a big fan of you. I'm a big fan of you guys. And I want to say I appreciate you guys and the conversation you have. But going back to that Jason conversation, it was one, I'm sure you got a lot of heat from other people, but it reminded me so much, Ali, what I said to him. It reminded me so much of the conversations that I had in the locker room. And I'll say this one because it's really important, because I hate the way the world is going now when it comes to having authentic conversations. And who knows, I might get canceled after this, but I'll say it anyways. When I was growing up, I grew up in an all-black neighborhood, you know, predominantly at the time. And, you know, there were some Hispanics in my neighborhood, but predominantly in a black neighborhood. I never had white friends growing up, ever. And it wasn't until I got to San Diego State where I had my white teammates and who would then become white friends, right? I never had that experience. I had so many ignorances about my white counterparts that I just thought, hey, this is what I saw on TV. This must be what it is. And some of these things were just coming out of my mouth, and some was joking, some was just, oh, I actually thought that. But the same in turn happened to me. But before we started getting into this labelization culture where we just had to label everybody, you got to label them now and stomp the conversation, we went back and forth and we corrected each other. Like, no, man, I don't believe that. No, I don't think that. No. And before you know it, you had guys who came from, gang banging, guys who came from racist neighborhoods who would end up becoming friends. But that was because we had 5 years to grow together and we had real dialogue, real conversation, tough conversations. But now none of that happens. And so even when you're talking about your understanding and that time with you guys and Jason about, the LGBTQ community and learning about that and what that meant, I'm like, this is powerful. The worst thing that could ever happen is to be silent out of fear that you're going to lose everything, because that same silence that is happening is starting to breed all of this other stuff. And I see it around me. I'm going, man, and I find myself sometimes like, I sometimes don't feel safe having conversations because I'm like, I have a lot to lose. So I might as well just put on a smile, hey, and echo the same things you might hear other people say, but inside you have feelings that you said, I don't know if I should or should not, or I need more understanding, but who do I go to because they're going to say X, Y, and Z. And what Richard, what you and Jason, what you guys displayed there, is like, that's what it's supposed to look like. And you can agree to disagree and still be friends and not have to worry about being labeled as such. So anyways, that was one of the most powerful things I'd ever seen on TV.
You can stay on a soapbox around here as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Well, Akbar, because you understand television and a 60-minute show is really only 44 minutes of content. We wish we could have put more out because it was incredible conversation. Jason, his honesty, his openness, obviously, and the comfort with Rich. I mean, it was such an awesome, from someone like myself who was just the host and wanted to navigate and just allow the conversation to flow. I was literally sitting there in awe as well. So everything you said, I know you just mentioned we don't want to echo, but I am echoing that because you were right on. Spot on. Yeah. So I appreciate your thoughts there.
Come back on in the playoffs. Come back on in the playoffs when basketball gets real.
Yeah.
When basketball gets real.
When basketball gets real. When we actually start working.
I do want to send along to you, Akbar, before we let you go. Channing did apologize. He's apologized a couple times. And like your show, American Ninja Warrior, I could only imagine the obstacle going on outside of his house. He's probably in ninja mode as we speak. So, yeah.
Well done.
Akbar, we appreciate you. It's another edition of
Thank you guys so much.